in the Premier League. It all gets underway at Villa Park when Aston Villa and Brighton do battle in the early kickoff. All of these are UK time. The bulk of the matches at 3 p.m, including Man United's clash with Crystal Palace and Manchester City's trip to Wolves. Then the headline of the weekend, Tottenham and Liverpool rounds out Saturday's action. One game on Sunday, Monday and Tuesday, Nottingham Forest against Brentford, Fulham and Chelsea, and then Luton and Burnley. That's what you can look forward to in match week 7. This is the state of play in the Premier League after 6 matches. Manchester City sitting pretty at the top. Liverpool 2 points behind. And then Brighton, after that fantastic start, are just a further point behind the Reds. Tottenham and Arsenal, London rivals, North London rivals, nothing to separate them. Manchester United into the top half of the table after their win last time out. Chelsea still in that bottom half of the table in 14th position, while Bournemouth, Luton, Burnley and Sheffield United are all still looking for a victory. That is what it looks like in the Premier League after 6 matches. Now, David Brooks' Bournemouth and Aaron Ramsdale's Arsenal will be doing battle on Saturday afternoon. The old teammates have been catching up this week. Check this out.
Hi guys, it's Aaron Ramsdale here. We're playing Bournemouth on Saturday. So I'm about to surprise my best mate, David Brooks, to give him an interview and just to have a general chit-chat about our lives.
Hey, Rambo.
Hello, pal.
Hi. Hello.
I spoke to him last night and this morning. Me and him personally is probably...
Once or twice a week? Yeah, about that. See how he's getting on.
I played for Sheffield United and David came on trial. Tiny, skinny, fat person, weren't you?
It's a bit harsh. You were, though.
Megxing people for fun, getting cramp at 45 minutes.
Yeah, I didn't have any calves, that's why. The majority of people that were at Sheffield United at the time were kind of being released from different clubs and obviously trying to cling on to the dream of making it as a professional. And yeah, me and Rams were no different. I think he was obviously at Bolton, I was at Man City, and we both found ourselves there trying to relight our careers. And yeah, I think we, like I said, we ended up living together. And
I was already his taxi driver.
Yeah, technically, he just moved in as my taxi driver.
How old are you when you passed your test finally?
19. Yeah, right.
So 17-year-old me, they used to take him everywhere, and he was always late.
He would never wake me up in the morning. Like, he'd walk past my room, go and get in the car, but if I wasn't bound by a certain time, he'd just leave me. Yeah, he could have just easily knocked on, but he'd just leave me there just for the sake of it.
I was on £82 a week as a scholar.
So being late was no option.
And if he wasn't ready, I would leave, yeah.
I tell you what I do remember, when I first joined, I think Sheffield United, where I think we were bottom of the league and under 18s or something like that. I won't tell a full story, but we got battered by Sheffield Wednesday 3-0 and we got back down to the change rooms and he absolutely ripped into every single one of us. And ever since that day, he's had an absolute blinder. So I think within a year, he was probably training with the first team. So it did him some good.
We've had some great times on the pitch and then I left to go to Bournemouth and then
18 months later, he came and joined me.
He must have given me a rave review when he got down here to Eddie Howe to kind of get the interest going. And yeah, like I said, I didn't really know much about Bournemouth apart from what Rammers had told me and kind of the gaffer situation at the time, Eddie Howe. And
yeah, I'm still waiting for the gaffer
to give me my compensation.
Yeah, as soon as I heard obviously what Rammers thought of the gaffer and kind of everything Bournemouth wanted to do and the place, it was a no-brainer for me to kind of come and make that next step and try and establish myself. And I've got to ask him these.
Whoa. Who decides you're going first?
I'll let you go first.
No, you'll go first.
Well, this is a shoot.
I'll go first.
You go first.
What's your biggest phobia?
That's a good question. What's your biggest phobia?
It's not really a worry or a concern, but I like going in the sea, but that scares me a bit. Like a shark coming and just ripping you under would be a bad way to go.
You see one shark video on TikTok.
And he thinks they're out there everywhere.
I'll go my first one.
What is your worst habit? How long have we got?
Did go through a bit of a lying stage, but I was...
You were a serial white liar.
Not a big lie, just when Rammers used to ask me things, just used to just lie to him for no reason. I don't know what it was. If you weren't a footballer, what would you have been?
Comedian.
I've just been working with my dad.
Handyman, plumber.
It's been a good chat. All finished?
See you, Dave.
See you, Ramos.
See you Saturday. See you later.
Ah. I obviously what
Brabant
David Brooks has
region,
been
to be
through.
exact.
I was just really emotional watching that and talking about his girlfriend and the proposal. And they're best mates, you know. They were.
That's what got you emotional. The proposal bit.
No, it was when they were talking about how he was dealing with it and how his girlfriend was helping David Brooks deal with it, and then the fact that Aaron was in Mauritius when he proposed. Oh, it's just a lovely, lovely story.
Real
friends.
Real friends.
They're like best mates.
And it's like they've never grown up. You know, now they're very successful elite athletes, and they've never grown up messing about. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. And you know, Aaron Ramsdale, I think he's that character and personality. He's not just a goalkeeper.
I'd love to chill with him, man.
Huh?
I'd love to hang out with him.
Yeah.
Aaron Ramsdale seems like a good guy. I love when he's in goal and he's winding up the fans behind him. I really love that about him. And obviously it's been a fairly tough time, especially the last few weeks for him. But he actually played in the League Cup and he made one very, very good save. So Mikel Arteta, it does feel like Raya's now the number one, but Arteta will be refused to be drawn into who's the number one and who's number two.
I don't know.
It's hard.
I don't know. But
that's difficult for a goalkeeper, isn't it?
Yeah, because that's the
more
one
than any other position.
Absolutely.
That was beautiful to see. We really enjoyed that. Except for you, you had a bit of trauma there.
Not really.
About the calves comment.
A little bit. You could see it still hurts me. It still haunts me. So when he was mentioning about having small calves, my legs aren't the biggest of legs, so I was always on the receiving end of one of those jokes, and it still cuts deep. I'll be honest.
Okay, let's get back to the match.
Let's move on.
Let's move on to the match at hand. Bournemouth versus Arsenal. Here are the managers, Andoni Iraola and Mikel Arteta.
I think they haven't lost. Even the games they tied, I think they were more close to winning those games. And they are powerful. They know they control the game. Normally, long stretches of possession, but they have some toughness with Declan Rice. I think Havertz physically also. They are now a stronger team.
He obviously wasn't available. He had to leave the London derby, and he hasn't trained yet. We have another session in an hour or two, so we'll have more news about him today.
Gabriel Martinelli.
Again, he hasn't trained, and we want him back. We need him back, but at the moment he's not been available.
Leandro Trossard.
Same situation.
And bukayo, Saka.
Same situation.
Would it be a judgment that you make based on what happens today and also based on the fact you've got Lens and then Manchester City coming up as well?
No, the assessment is, okay, is he fit enough? Is he done enough to be able to be selected tomorrow? That's the question mark, and so far he hasn't trained with the team.
Are some of those nearer than others, or they all around the same?
They are all in the same pool, and Willie as well had a knock. Fabio as well wasn't involved in the last game. So we have a few. We have to assess them today, how they see, and adapt to the situation, because that's a big number.
The fact that with Saka, he's got this record consecutive run of games. If he came to you and said, "Boss, I want to keep that run going," would that be a factor?
Well, that would mean that he's feeling good, and B's got now enough experience and understanding on when he's ready to help the team and when he's not. But that's what all the managers want to hear, that they want to play and they are feeling good to play. That's the most important thing.
And in terms of the goalkeeper, the ineligible goalkeeper situation, can I take it for granted that the keeper that starts will have a surname that begins with R?
You are a genius. I have my answer for the rest of the season. Thank you so much for your cooperation.
Your first game in charge of Arsenal was at Bournemouth.
Yes.
I think only two of the starting lineup that day are still at the club. What does that say about the job that you and Edu have done in that time?
Well, obviously, a lot of changes. It's been a while now. It's been 3.5 years, or almost 4 years since that moment. A really special one. A lot of things has changed. Many of them are positive, and a lot of things on that journey, that's for sure.
And Andoni Iraola was born within 3 months of you, 7 miles away. You're almost brothers.
Well, we know each other really well. We played together. We had fantastic times together. We played in Antiguoco. It's a team in San Sebastian that has produced a lot of players over the years. They do fantastic work, and we were privileged to be raised there, to be educated there, and that's the beauty of football. That 30, 40 years later, we are together in the Premier League as managers, both of them, and I'm really, really happy for him.
Is there something in the Basque region water that produces good football coaches?
Well, first of all, is the passion about the game, about football. I think the education that we get, a level of coaches there is really good. They really take care of the academy. You have to see Real Sociedad, Athletic Bilbao, Eibar, all those teams. They do fantastic work to raise talent, and it's not a coincidence that a lot of players have come through there.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
How would you compare your team today to the team that won 3-0 at the Vitality Stadium last season?
Very difficult to compare. We want to play like we did that day, even better, and still win the game. You know, we have some changes, and the team is in a different moment. The objective is going to be the same: to be better than Bournemouth and beat them. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
In terms of the goalkeeper situation, can you recall any periods of your playing or managerial career where there were two world-class goalkeepers fighting for the number one spot every week?
Yeah.
Can you talk us through those situations?
Since I was 13 years old, one in Antiguoco and the other one in Barcelona. My two goalkeepers in the team were Víctor Valdés and Pepe Reina.
And does this inspire you in the way you manage the situation today?
I don't know, but I was so safe. I look back and I have Pepe Reina and Víctor Valdés. I was like, we have a big chance to win the game.
What's your biggest challenge this season in terms of improving your team?
Well, playing better every day. Playing better and suffocating the opponent more, create more chances, concede zero, and play as far as possible from our goal.
Is it the goalkeeper situation, the midfield, the forwards? What's the most difficult situation?
It's all linked, and the opponent has a big say on that. You know, you face different behaviors from opponent, different concepts. Games open up when you score early, when you don't, when you concede, when you have errors. A lot of things affect, but continue winning.
Thank you.
Thank you.
TalkSport. Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Well, 9 matches unbeaten so far in all competitions. Must be pleased that obviously, depending on the situation, you still managed to come through and not be beaten by anybody yet this season.
For sure, and we have to continue to do that, and that's the mindset that we want every single game. Win in any context, and we had very different contexts throughout the season already, and that's going to keep changing. And as you can see now, with the amount of situation that we have in the team, with the uncertainty of players, it's going to be even more. Playing every 3 days, having to win, having to compete in 3 different competitions in 7 days, and that's the challenge, and we are up for it, that's for sure.
I did a press conference last week with Mauricio Pochettino said you can't buy confidence in the supermarket. He was saying you have to instill it in the team. How much are you instilling that in the team? How much do the players do it themselves?
Well, it's a huge thing, and it is the individual one and it is the collective one, and then is the one that is external as well, and that confidence obviously transmit to each other. And playing well and winning matches is always the best thing to do, and we are in a good moment.
You've spoken about your friendship with the Bournemouth manager. How easy is that to put aside when you're going into a game?
I think very easy. You are in winning mode, compete, get the best out of your team, and get in the battle. And before and after is a different story, especially after. But during, there is nothing there.
So you'll definitely pop in and see him after the game?
For sure, yes.
Okay. Can I ask you one final one? Apart from the goalkeeping situation, the only other person that seems to be talked about recently is Kai Havertz, who doesn't seem to, perhaps from the outside, settled in or produced his best form yet. How are you going to get the best out of Kai Havertz?
Trying to help him as much as possible. Be next to him, giving the tools, giving the confidence, and giving the minutes to exploit his talent. There's so many parts of his game that he's doing exceptionally well, and we know the one that needs to keep improving. But as always, with any players, giving support, especially when you see a player that does what he does every single day, and the way he tries, the way he applies himself, is giving support, more tools, and if they don't perform, it's because it's up to us.
So you hope that he'll play his way into form, basically?
Yes, and he needs to glide within the team. You know, the amount of time that he's played in the left unit with those players it's 3 times, 4 times, you know, and we're gonna have to carry on doing that. And certainly we have the experience of that with many other players, and try to give him as much support and confidence as we possibly can, because that's going to help him for sure.
You're almost brothers.
I was born in the same city as Jermaine.
Yeah,
we could be brothers.
And we both lived in Cape Town, so we could be cousins.
We could be cousins.
Yes, definitely.
Come on.
Let's talk about the game, all right? And let's start with Arsenal. Another week, another goalkeeping conundrum.
Yeah, indeed.
Who starts this week?
Except, I think, certainly to you guys who know the game and us who have seen so much of Arsenal this season, it's very clear that Raya is now the number one.
Yeah.
And as much as we love Ramsdale, he isn't anymore. He is the League Cup goalkeeper.
Yeah.
But Raya, why does he prefer Raya? Well, he's better in the air. He's claimed 3 times as many crosses last season than Ramsdale. He is more assured. He pulled off a couple of fantastic saves in the North London derby last weekend. And already that back line appears to be more assured with him behind them than Ramsdale.
That said, some problems in the back line. We're not too sure about the injuries piling up for Arsenal. Saliba, some talk about him. Bukayo Saka certainly didn't train this week. Rice as well. It's a bit worrying.
It's a little bit concerning. But, you know, when you look at the players that Arsenal have in reserve, you've got to say, look, the way that Arsenal set the Mikel Arteta sets his Arsenal side up, it's to dominate possession. It's to frustrate the opposition as much as possible. So in terms of the personnel, I don't think it's vitally important having all of those players in there. However, Saka is that little sprinkling of gold dust, little sprinkling of magic that changes a game in the blink of an eye. His magic will be missed if he's absent from the game. However, we have seen in the past that when Saka's missed a week or a few days of training leading up to a game, he turns up on a match day and he does produce the magic.
Do you know, Jermaine, Saka in a weird way worries me, because he's now played 87 games in a row for Arsenal.
It's a lot.
No other player's played as many games. He's 22 years of age. We're seeing right there what he gives the Arsenal team. But can they rely on him? We talk about responsibility and players stepping up. If he doesn't play, then the onus is on the Arsenal team to step up and play without him. Because as you say, he provides that X factor, the moment of magic that can light up any game. But he's still just...
He's young, isn't he?
He's young.
He's a young pup.
And it's a workload. It's such a heavy workload to stick on a young player.
It is. But when you're in that position, and I've been in the same position as Saka, playing game after game after game and not having any days off, no rest, he won't be seeing it like that. From his own personal perspective, he won't see it like that. So this is the time where he has to be managed. Because if we, as football fans, want to see Saka playing for another 15 years until he's mid-30s, almost 40, he's going to have to be managed in his early years, where he doesn't really fully understand how much his body can take in the here and now.
Will Bournemouth be looking at those players who are absent or potentially absent and saying, well, it's 2 teams at different ends of the table, and we are currently, this is Bournemouth, on the longest run in the Premier League without a victory. This is the time we can turn it around.
Yeah, no win in 10 for Bournemouth, undefeated Arsenal in their last 10. So as far as Bournemouth are concerned, the players that potentially could be missing could level the playing field for them. I think players like Dominic Solanke, he will have to step up. And also, you know, there are 1 or 2 others in the side. I'd love to see some more goals from midfield as well from this Bournemouth side. But I just think in general terms, Bournemouth, they're a team who could use their home advantage to pile a little bit of pressure on Arsenal. Their away record actually has been quite good so far this season, 3 wins on the road. But I think as far as Bournemouth are concerned, they've got to look at those players who are not there and try and take advantage.
Solanke, you mentioned him. He's already halfway in terms of goals to last season's tally.
He is indeed. And, you know, I think that's part of a similar situation to Darwin Núñez. He's come into it this season fitter, more confident as well. And his teammates trust him just that little bit more. Look, we know he knows how to score goals. In the Championship, I think his record in the Championship over the last couple of years is 1 in 2. So he knows where the back of the net is. It's just a matter of his teammates trusting him and moving the ball nice and quickly for him to get in those areas to cause the problems.
Right, well, that's that encounter. There are a couple more that we haven't had an in-depth look at. So we're just going to kind of touch on them. What about Wolves versus Manchester City? City lost in the